Hi, this is Dan Adams.
And I'm Brian Gongol.
And we're the WHO Radio Wise Guys, and this is our post-show video wrap-up party for today, December 17th.
At some point,
2011.
after months and months of doing this, Dan will actually come up with a name he can settle on and won't take 15 minutes to say at the start of the program.
Moving on.
Anyhow,
this is just a little video we like to put together after our radio show to go over some news items that we didn't get a chance to get to on the air today. So first out of the gate here, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, if you don't know that name, it was Paul Allen and Bill Gates and one other guy. I can't think of the other guy's name right now.
it doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter now, but they started Microsoft however many umpteen years ago, and Paul Allen basically took his billions of dollars in stock and has just gone off in his life to pursue his other interests. Okay?
And there are quite a few.
And he does have quite a few. He's very much into helping other companies finance and get started and do things. And he owns a professional sports team too. Is it the Seahawks? He's up in Washington.
I think we own the Trailblazers.
Is it the Trailblazers?
Yeah.
I have no idea what he owns. I don't even care. But so he does that, and he's a big philanthropist guy.
Philanthropist. Philanthropist makes it sound like he's going around sleeping with other guys'
I
wives.
just made that term up. I know I did that right when I said that, because I like that word and I want to start using it. Philanthropist.
Go for it.
Anyway, the newest thing that Paul Allen has got his hands into, he's working with aerospace pioneer Burt Rutan. Do you recognize that name at all?
In fact, he was the guy behind the team that won the X Prize.
That's exactly right. Paul Allen and Burt Rutan.
Right. Well, Rutan, though, was the engineering guy behind the aeronautics guy.
The X Prize was was a $20 million prize for the first private organization that could put a private citizen into outer space, or into space.
I think it was actually a $10 million prize. It cost them $20 million, so
yes,
they got the $10 million prize, and then they've licensed the technology for more than the difference itself.
And what they did was they basically built their own spacecraft, launched it from Earth, and sent a guy up. You would think we would know this guy's name, but nobody does. And the guy went up into space, so he's out of our atmosphere. He's actually out in space, and then he came back down. And I think they had to do it twice.
Twice within a week, and return the astronaut safely to Earth.
Yes, which they did. And I've seen the video of them doing this. It's very cool.
It is.
It's very, very cool. So anyway, now, Paul Allen and Burt Rutan have teamed up again. They are now building a giant plane that will launch people and cargo into orbit around our Earth. As a private company.
Right.
Okay. Which is kind of cool. And the way they're going about this, I think, is really cool too, Brian. They have this giant plane that they're building, which, by the way, has a wingspan of, get this, 380 feet.
It's a pretty wide span.
That's 80 feet longer than a football field. Okay. A football field is 300 feet long.
Right.
Their wingspan is 380 feet. This is
a lot of lift.
This is a big plane. So what it is it's a huge plane that they're going to lift up a cargo thing, rocket thing, and when they get to a certain altitude, they will, just like when Chuck Yeager flew the X-2, this cargo thing is going to drop, fire a rocket, take off, and go into orbit.
The whole idea being that there are two stages to this flight. One is getting off of the ground and getting into the atmosphere. The second one being getting from the atmosphere to space, essentially.
And their logic is very simple here. It takes less rocket fuel to do it this way than to launch from a launch pad on the ground. So,
pretty logical approach, actually.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So we'll keep tabs on this, and we'll see how these guys do. I think it's kind of cool.
By the way, we were both right. He owns the Seahawks, and he owns the Trailblazers.
Really? He owns both of them?
He does.
Okay, so there you go. If you got multiple billions of dollars, you can own multiple professional sports teams.
Yeah, pretty convenient, actually.
Yeah, and maybe he'll take them all on a ride on his new plane. Because one of the things they're going to do here is take tourists into orbit.
Well, I imagine, yes, and that's been proposed for some time since this all came out, was there are going to be people who will pay $150,000 for a ticket to go into space for an hour.
If I had that kind of money, I'd do it.
Oh, there are a lot of people who want to and have already signed up to do it.
It's cheaper than taking a ride on the Russian rocket for $20 million.
That's the whole idea, plus a lot less training involved. You can just sit back in the back and be a passenger.
Yeah, take an afternoon and go orbit around the Earth a few times.
Now, there remain questions, of course, here for this. what are the practical applications? Perhaps there are people who want to travel fast, and there's equipment and there are goods that need to be moved quickly, and those are some of the reasons. And then, of course, there's just pure vanity and saying, I went to space.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of reasons why this.
I think it's very cool. I'm kind of excited about it. I hope to win the lottery soon so that I can go on a ride. So
Good luck with that.
thanks. Well, I could probably do it on my salary I get here at the radio station. Not. No. All right, moving on. This is a story that just absolutely astounds me. AT&T, which I consider to be the worst cell phone company out there.
Really a big fan.
Not a big fan at all. AT&T is on track to break smartphone sales records. Get this, Brian Gongol. AT&T says that they have already sold 6 million smartphones in the months of October and November of this year, and they're on track to sell at least that many in the month of December.
I can believe that. So 6 million a month is the rate at which they're selling.
A little less than that, but yeah. And the main reason is that so many people are buying the new Apple iPhone 4S.
Mm-hmm.
People are upgrading. That's what they're doing. What I don't understand is when you're, and I know I have friends that use AT&T. Their contract is expiring, and they're not as many of them as I thought are jumping ship and going somewhere else.
Well,
Getting away from AT&T.
there's a lot of interest in making sure you have the best phone, which for some people doesn't require having the best network. So if the demand is first on the side of the phone, then they're going to get wherever they can the phone itself. Remember, there are a lot of people who never leave large metropolitan areas. I mean, I've been to Chicago for one time for a wedding reception. While I was there, sat down at a table with this other couple I didn't know, and we were talking a little bit, and they were asking, where we were from. I said Iowa. I said, oh, it started to get that whole attitude.
They think we're all pioneers.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have electricity out there?
You come in on a wagon train.
Exactly. But as this went on and on and on, what I discovered was that being from Iowa, with a very low cost of living here in general, we have the opportunity to travel a lot. So I go places. I've been to, I think, 40 of the 50 states, been to several foreign countries, and I enjoy doing that. It's something I like to do.
Yep.
These people, who were dogging me for being a yokel from the sticks, hadn't left the Chicago metropolitan area in 25 years. Hadn't left
That's ridiculous.
Metro Chicagoland
That's
in
ridiculous.
25 years. So there are a lot of people who don't leave those areas, thus they don't need anything other than the carrier that will take care of them when they're at home. That's all they ever need.
I met a guy one time when I first came to Des Moines, a young guy who, in his entire life, and he was probably in his very early 20s at the time, never left the east side of Des Moines.
Seems like that.
Why would anybody want to stay on the east side of Des Moines? I have no idea.
There are plenty of nice things on the east side of Des Moines. There's just a reason, though, to make sure you see a broader world wherever you're from. That's the key. You have to go somewhere else and see things wherever you're from. But to some people, they don't, so they don't need a cell phone system that covers a larger network. They only need what they need right at home.
I guess. I think life is short and you need to get out and see the world.
I would recommend the very same thing, which is what cell phones are good for doing, is letting you get out of the house.
Yeah. I just find it amazing that so many people are staying with such a bad company. They deliver bad service, and this is my opinion, of course, but and the people that I'm thinking of right now in my head, people I know that have AT&T, they agree with me. AT&T is not great. But they're not jumping ship, and I don't understand that.
I don't have their service. I haven't tested their service. But again, for the people who live in areas that they're well covered, and if they don't leave those areas, it's a perfectly fine option to have.
I will say this about Verizon, the service that I have. I think it's a great service. I never have trouble with their service. The only complaint I have about Verizon is they're expensive.
Well,
they are the most expensive service out there, I believe.
None of the service is being delivered for free, and I think that's the key point that everybody ought to acknowledge, is it's not free, it's not going to be free, and it's not going to get cheap anytime soon either.
I'm thinking about applying for one of these really cheap free cell phones that you get 250 minutes a month for.
Just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. But I would have to commit fraud to get the phone because I would have to lie about my income and everything.
Oh, you're talking about the phones that are being delivered to the low-income folks,
Yeah,
so that they have a lifeline that
Yes.
they can call out in an emergency or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, then don't lie.
I'm thinking about doing that, but I probably won't. So
At that stage, you've already admitted now to the potential crime on video.
I just said I'm not going to do it.
that's a smart move.
I thought about it, but I'm not going to do it. 'Cause the guilt would get me so bad.
You can see the burden just weighing him down as we speak.
Yeah, I really like my phone. You know, like I said, I've said this many times. I have a Droid X right here. For me, I would love to have an iPhone with a screen this size. This screen is huge. Look at the size of that screen, people, right there. On the Verizon network, I'd be a happy guy. I really would. And if Verizon would cut their pricing in half, that'd be great too.
I think we'd all love everybody to cut their pricing in half, except for ourselves, and we'd like to continue charging full price for everything we do.
Yes, we would.
Funny how that works out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So.
We need to roll. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for watching our video here, our post-game wrap-up show. Keep in mind that the Radio Wise guys on Christmas Eve day will be in studio for 2 full hours, starting at noon Central Time on the air.
And visit us online at WHORadioWiseGuys.com. I'm Brian Gongol.
I'm Dan Adams.
We are the WHO Radio Wise Guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in.